Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomanson. Topping our newscast tonight, government officials held a teleconference Wednesday to update the public on the efforts being taken to address Central High's odor problem that closed the school. The investigation is now complete, and agency heads are finalizing that report, but there's still no word on when the school will reopen. News 2's Erica Parsons has the update.
Government officials are now confident about what caused the repeated odor that forced Central High School to close 1 month ago.
We made a determination through a series of technical assumptions that we were dealing with some issue that resulted from some malfunction or operational deficiency or infrastructural deficiency with the Waste Management Authority system.
Waste Management officials said their department, along with private contractors, quickly worked to repair the sewage system outside in the area of the Curriculum Center and Superior Court. Now the plan is to move the work onto the school's campus.
The public sewer system corrective actions are completed, and so now we're on to the school sewer system to assist in figuring out what needs to be done there.
The private contractors this morning and going forward are going to be putting cameras within all of the systems within the school so we can get a bird's eye view as to exactly what is in those the piping system. Additionally, we're going to be conducting smoke tests.
Those tests will help to evaluate how well the storm and wastewater systems at the school hold up, and then officials can decide if and what repairs are needed. A leaking propane tank was found on the school's campus, as well as another one at the Herbert Griggs Senior Home, but those issues have since been addressed and weren't part of the main problem. Still no word on how soon the campus will reopen. Agency heads say they can't develop a project schedule until they know the extent of any repairs that will have to be made, but they say they want to make sure it's done right to ensure the safety of Central students and staff. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Meanwhile, Education Commissioner Donna Fred Gregory is advising Central High School staff, parents, and students that make-up instructional days have been scheduled for the week of April 28th to May 2nd. During this time, classes will convene on the St. Croix Educational Complex campus beginning at 7:30 a.m. and ending at 4:45 p.m. Fred Gregory explained Monday this proposal allows them to make up 40 of the lost hours, and the few remaining hours will be made up with additional assignments given to the students by their teachers. United States Magistrate Judge Ruth Miller today ordered the detention of Emmanuel Benel Cuadro, 24, of Puerto Rico, who was arrested Sunday at the Cyril Lee King Airport on St. Thomas and charged with illegally shipping firearms into the Virgin Islands. Attorney Ronald Sharp announced Benel Cuadro made his initial appearance in district court before U.S. Magistrate Judge Ruth Miller on Monday and was ordered held without bail pending today's detention and preliminary hearing. According to documents filed in district court, Customs and Border Protection officers and agents of Homeland Security investigations intercepted a brown box that Benel Cuadro placed on a JetBlue flight traveling from Puerto Rico to St. Thomas on April 13th. The package contained 3 firearms, 1 Glock, and 2 Smith & Wesson firearms. The 3 firearms were removed from the box and replaced with 2 fake firearms, and the box was allowed to continue on to St. Thomas. Upon JetBlue's arrival in St. Thomas, Benel Cuadro retrieved the brown box from the airport's baggage claim area. If convicted, Benel Cuadro faces a statutory maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Police are still actively investigating cases throughout the territory and is asking for the community's support in solving these crimes. Remember, if your tip leads to an arrest or the recovery of stolen property, illegal drugs, or weapons, you will receive a cash reward of up to $2,500 to be paid according to your instructions. News 2's Shanika Robinson has the latest Crime Stoppers report.
On St. Croix, police need your help in solving the untimely death of Sergeant David Francois, a VI National Guardsman who was shot and killed on Monday, November 18, 2013, in the vicinity of the Vincent Mason Pool in Frederickstead, while on an outing with his wife. If you were in the area of the pool, beach, or Target Wall Beach and saw or heard anything, we need your help. Whatever you may know is vital to bring closure for the family and friends of the victim. On St. Thomas on Sunday, April 6, a man stated that at 4:30 p.m. he was walking in the hospital ground area heading home when he heard several gunshots. He ran and later realized that he had been shot in the lower body but was unable to provide information about the shooter. If you were in the area at the time and know anything about this crime, please call us. And on St. John on March 5th, police received a report that a home was burglarized at 1 KE Estate Bethany. The home had been locked and secured by the residents that day at about 10 a.m., and when they returned at 3 p.m., they discovered that the home had been broken into. Several pieces of 14-karat gold and diamond jewelry were stolen, including earrings, a cuff bracelet, and a necklace. Please help police solve this crime by telling us what you may know. Continue to help make our islands a safer place to live and visit by simply telling us what you know about these or any other crimes at www.crimestoppersusvi.org or by calling 1-800-222-8477. Shaniqua Robinson reporting for News 2.
Innovative telephone, cable TV, and PowerNet customers on St. Thomas experienced an outage due to damages to the company's underground infrastructure. Matt Muckelbar, Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer, said on the evening of April 12, Innovative was made aware that crews from Transtel Central, which is a company contracted with VINGN, damaged an underground fiber optic cable while working on Smith Bay Road. As a result of this damage to Innovative's facilities, some customers in nodes 13 and 14, affecting the Smith Bay and Red Hook areas, Innovative technical crews remained on site repairing the underground infrastructure and continued to work diligently until telephone, cable TV, and internet service was fully restored to working order on Monday evening, April 14th. The VI Waste Management Authority advises the residents on the western end of St. Thomas that effective Saturday, April 19th, the authority will commence the consolidation of its public disposal site. Now, the bin sites located along Black Point Hill and the one in Bournefield adjacent to the fence of the VI Port Authority's private aircraft parking will be removed. This interim location is the first of several convenience centers that will be introduced throughout the island of St. Thomas. These designated convenience centers will allow for the closure and consolidation of several public disposal sites to reduce the quantity of bin sites, and we'll have more information on the location of the new bins. The man arrested yesterday near the finish line of the Boston Marathon with a rice cooker in his backpack has been sent to a psychiatric facility for evaluation. The suspect is facing numerous charges and is being held on $100,000 bail. His mother says he has bipolar disorder. Alexis Christophorus is in Boston with the latest.
25-year-old Kayvon Edson appeared in court Wednesday charged with possession of a hoax device. Sources tell CBS News the suspect had a rice cooker in his backpack that was filled with confetti.
Your Honor doesn't need me to tell you the symbolism of a rice cooker on the one-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombers. Your Honor, taken in the totality of the circumstances, we do believe that $100,000 is an appropriate bail amount for this individual.
That he does need some assistance to stabilize himself mentally. However, this gentleman is not a threat.
It all took place near the finish line of next week's Boston Marathon, and 1 year after 2 bombs exploded, killing 3 and injuring hundreds more. The Boston community and special guests paid tribute to victims Tuesday.
We will always remember our guardian angels. I am so proud to be a Bostonian.
Survivors are vowing to put last year's tragedy behind them and to run next week's race without fear. Alexis Christophorus, CBS News, Boston.
And keeping our eye on the economy, Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen says the economy has made some progress since the recession. In her first major speech on Fed policy, Yellen says the growth for outlook is moderate. The Fed has kept its short-term loan rate at a record low since late 2008. Here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. Everything up. The Dow 162, NASDAQ 52, S&P 19. Coming up on News 2, youth leaders around the nation were in Washington, D.C. last week for a monumental event, the 25th Annual National Service Learning Conference that serves as platforms for children and adults to gain tools and that inspires them to make a positive change. We'll have highlights coming up next. Youth leaders around the nation were in Washington, D.C. last week for a monumental event, the 25th Annual National Service Learning Conference, that serves as a platform for children and adults to gain tools and then inspires them to make a positive change. For the first time, students from the Virgin Islands were selected to make a presentation. Our News 2 D.C. correspondent Natafa Romain was there.
It was nothing short of monumental for the St. Croix Youth Advisory Council, who were invited to present at the annual National Service Learning Conference in D.C. last week. For most, making a presentation to complete strangers or even participating in such a large conference may have seemed like a daunting task. But for Shadia Parija and Bria James, confidence overruled any doubt.
It's important for other people to understand that we're making a difference, although we're small and we're young.
And many people do not know about the Virgin Islands, so this was a great way to express and show them that, hey, we are on that map.
The road to D.C. wasn't an easy one. Members of the Youth Advisory Council had to submit an essay to the selection committee of the organization to decide who would represent the group in Washington, D.C.
It was difficult because we had 16 members and there were quite a few members who applied to come to the conference.
The presentation was entitled Youth Voice, a Tool to Bridge the Gap in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, which laid out strategies to get the voices of young people heard. The group also showcased their global youth network.
It's a website created to help youths. In 2012, we took an Answers for Change survey, and we found out that there was a lack of role models. So we came together and said, you know what, let's create a website.
Shadia and Bria say they will cherish this experience for the rest of their lives.
We're going to walk away with a new sense of just appreciation for our project.
Definitely. I would definitely walk away with making new friends and also learn about other organizations. There are thousands of organizations that I've never heard of, and it's a great opportunity to be here and to meet new people.
With young people like Shadia, Bria, and other members of the Youth Advisory Council working to make the Virgin Islands a better place, it's safe to say the future of the territory is in safe hands. In Washington, D.C., Natafa Romain, News 2.
And the Global Youth Network website is www.yacstcroix.org. Students at the Eulalie Rivera Elementary School have been busy opening their new museum. The Ancient Egypt Children's Museum was opened to the public on Wednesday. Students performed an introductory dance. And the Global Youth Network website is www.yacstcroix.org. Students at the Eulalie Rivera Elementary School have been busy opening their new museum. The Ancient Egypt Children's Museum was opened to the public Wednesday. Students performed an introductory dance. On display were pyramids, the Nile River, hieroglyphics, a mummification project, and much, much more.
There were so many interesting things about ancient Egypt that we were learning, so I created a whole project, the culminating project at the end. We talked about the mummification, so we actually mummified chickens. We made pyramids because we learned about how the pyramids were built. We got out reading standards and using the Common Core standards. We did math, we did science. We have the students writing, and the students work really hard at getting hands-on projects, so we tried to put everything together to create a museum. I love museums. I take my grandchildren to museums every year, and so this is something that we don't have here, and I would like to be able to give the students an opportunity to have that experience.
Good job to the students there. Now, in more student news, the Charles H. Emanuel fourth graders answered more questions about books they read to defeat fourth graders from the Juanita Gardin Elementary School in the Battle of the Books, which was held on Tuesday on St. Croix. Also, the Juanita Gardin School team of 5th and 6th graders won their division against the Charles Emanuel Elementary School. St. Croix's Public Schools' first Battle of the Books was a collaborative project between the Charles Emanuel and Juanita Gardin schools, funded through a Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands grant. Battle of the Books encourages students to read various books and have fun while competing with their peers. Actor Charles Dutton was in the territory recently, as we reported, as a participant in the university's Alfred O'Heath Lecture Series. He delivered a stirring message about his struggles and triumph from jail to Yale, and ultimately the success he has today. but he also sat down and lunched with representatives from UVI, Innovative, and the Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts. It was part of a collaboration on a new sculpture project the museum is undertaking that will be unveiled later this year. 20 Virgin Islands students representing 8 territorial high schools on Saturday brought 9 homemade wind turbines to Charlotte Amalie High School to see whose would produce the most electricity. In the end, it was St. Croix Education Complex team that took home that top trophy. Charlotte Amalie High School was second place, and St. Peter and Paul was third. The students were supplied with basic kits for the turbines, but were free to use innovative ideas and materials in creating the blades, the gear ratios, and the foundations for the turbines. Energy Office and university staff judged the design of the turbine as well as its efficiency. The KID Wind project is affiliated with a national program. Congratulations to all the students. Be sure to stick around. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.